Should we all be doing semen retention, or is it bullshit? You see, we are convinced that from these testimonies, if you go for 100, 200, maybe a whole year without nothing, you will become a god. But the reality is, none of us see them reaching the PSL God tier list. Which means that even though there might be benefits to it, they don't amount to the quantity or the quality portrayed. You see, naturally, the most attractive people, the most naturally, structurally beautiful people with well-developed bones, jaws, face, nose, skin, will be the ones that will actually be nutting more because of natural selection. So now please understand that it is actually completely unnatural to prohibit yourself of anything, including having sex. In nature, no animal is impeding themselves from sleeping when they feel tired, from eating when they feel hungry, from nutting when they feel aroused. But they don't feel aroused in the same moments as us. You see, it's completely unnatural to have constant hunger, either for food or sex. In nature, you feel aroused in the company of an attractive and momentarily fertile potential mate. So, you are healthy, so you have appetite, food and sexual appetite. You don't have hunger because of having appetite. You have hunger because, in terms of sex, because an attractive and momentarily fertile potential mate is in your company. That's why pornography, which is imaginary and imagining people without clothes, arouses us, because we are tricking our brain that an attractive potential mate is in front of us. That's why a lot of people ejaculate during so-called wet dreams, because their imagination is strong enough to make them be convinced that it is reality. So, what is the problem here? The problem here is not that we are having sex when we are in the company of a potential mate. There are pheromones that are released from that person's body, and the smell convinces our brains that it's time to engage. And that is completely natural. And in nature, in the period that a woman is fertile, which is around 20 days per month, whenever you felt those smells, you would jump on her and have a child made. And because so, the smell in her would change for a smell of completion, accomplishment. And then you wouldn't feel the need to jump on her for the rest of the month. And because she would be pregnant for 9 months, and because she would be lactating for a while, only once the smells started reaching your nose and your nervous system again, would you nut again. So naturally, you don't prohibit yourself, but you don't unnaturally force yourself or go for it more than multiple times in a single month. The fertility momentary window is only around 20 days. The moon cycle is 28 days, so she will have the peak over cycle every so timing, and it will have a couple of days before, a couple of days after, meaning that the actual completely fertile period is around 20 days. Only if you were surrounded by multiple women and you were absolutely beautiful, you would be enticed to jump on multiple ones in that month. But even in that case, you would jump up on 6 women, let's say, just like it happens in animals. You would impregnate all of them in that same cycle, imagining they are all in the same fertility period. And because they all get pregnant, then for 9 months, you don't feel aroused again. But because we don't live like nature provides you with a parent, with a mother, with some siblings, and naturally you are surrounded by their family, like just like a lion pride, just like a cattle pride, like a herd. And naturally you are surrounded only by people that are within the same type of behaviors, within the same type of temporal cycling. So when we as men are faced with multiple women from multiple families, from multiple backgrounds, multiple races, from multiple countries around the world, completely different cultures, they have different timings, and now I feel attracted to a woman, I nut. But then, because she isn't pregnant, the smell continues, and I feel the need to go jump and jump again. And even if I do impregnate her and the smell goes away, next time I go to a cafe or a restaurant or something, there is another woman there who has that smell. And it's mostly like an infra or ultra smell that you don't realize it's there, but it has an effect on you, just like infra or ultrasound, or just like micro or ultra waves. And so the problem arises. We live unnaturally, and because we do so, we feel aroused all the time. And to top that off, we consume dairy. Dairy is completely unnatural. In the wild, there's no such thing as herding. No animal herds other animals, I mean. And because so, when you want to eat, you need to kill an animal. And because you are going to do so, you have 2 options. Maybe a third one being so-called persistent hunting, which I doubt was of any popularity back in the day, because it's so tiring and so cost ineffective in terms of your energy for the energy that you get from the animal. What it is intelligent is either you run after an animal for them to get scared into how do you say in English? You have a drop point and then they drop onto like a mountain or whatever, they drop to a lower point and they die, and so then you can go get the meat. And when you get there, I doubt you'll be able to get any milk still. I mean, no possible way. If they're already dead, maybe like actually 0. If you do the second option, which is to get a nice sharp object and you throw at them either through your arm like this or through a bow and arrow, which is rather more unnatural, but whatever, then what happens is, because we can't outrun any animal whatsoever. Like a goat runs twice as fast as a human. No way you will be able to catch it just by running. And so it gets damaged, and then you run up to them because they are on the floor, and you might be able to get some milk in the time before they die. But I mean, let's be honest, doing so, you would only get a very minimal amount of dairy. And I mean, who the hell would think of that? We only think of consuming dairy because we herd cattle, we see the little babies consuming it, and we know it's nutritious, and it is, no doubt about it. And we like the taste of it. So we consume it, we make cheeses, we make yogurt, whatever. The thing is, anything outside of cream, either in liquid, iced, or butter form, will have a problem. Milk, yogurt, and cheese all have casein, casomorphin, and things within it that increase our sexual hunger, not appetite. Any healthy person, a human consuming whole animals, will have natural sexual appetite. But sexual hunger should only arise in the context I just mentioned. And so you feel aroused, you feel like going up to your mother's breast. Milk increases appetite, you drink as much as you can. Also, it increases your hunger. After 2 hours, and because it's sort of addictive, you want to go for more. And after 2 hours, you want to go for more, as a baby. And because it mixes proteins and fats with sugars, the actual so-called lactose, it ages us. It is completely known that AGEs, advanced glycation agents, in products, that actually age our bodies, just like the name suggests, are created either when we cook our food, the more we cook, the more AGEs, and when we mix protein, fat or both, with sugars, with carbs. And milk has the 3 components, these 3 macronutrients, which mean that it ages us because it is meant to do so. It increases your appetite, you eat more and more and more, and it ages you into a moment when you are with enough weight and with enough age, sort of enough independence to start walking, so that you pass that frail period between birth and your first steps. Because it's very important that you age very quickly in that time, because if not, you might catch a cold or anything, because you are not old enough, you are not developed enough. We want the development to occur as quickly as possible. So it is completely unnatural to consume it even in our teens. But since people decide not to consume whole animals, like wild-fed meat, just like ruminants, even if they're not wild-fed, because people don't do so, or they just eat the steaks, then they crave something else and they might go for some dairy. And raw dairy is actually incredibly nutritious, but it comes at the cost I just mentioned. Both the sexual hunger comes, which is completely unnatural and results even in crimes, which we know, and results in frustration, because the person feels this inner itch that they need to scratch, but they can't scratch it unless they scratch it. And so my recommendation is go the natural way. Only surround yourself with attractive and fertile potential mates if you are looking to make a child. Ideally. If you go up to a potential mate, go in a group with a couple of friends or whatever, so not to have so much of an energy directed at that idea. And for sure, don't prohibit yourself of anything, don't force yourself to do anything either. Sleep when you're tired, eat when you're hungry, salt to taste if you don't consume whole animals, if you're doing the fake carnivore diet, cook with cooked meats, drink to thirst, just listen to your own senses and realize that if you're hungry either for food or for sex all of the time, constantly, there is something wrong with what you're consuming, either through your mouth, through your skin, whether you put some creams or sunscreens or whatever, or through your nose. A lot of people take showers. I mean, most people on earth take showers all the time, which is completely unnatural. Maybe going for across a lake or something once in a while to refresh yourself or to go to the other side so that you can hunt, sure, but not to bathe. That's completely unnatural for actual terrestrial mammals, unless for necessary purposes, drinking or whatever, cooling off, biological needs. And so people, when they do shower or bathe or whatever, they typically use shampoos which are completely filled with toxins. They use these shampoos and bath gels and whatever that have very intense smells, just like your clothes. You should never wash your clothes with intense smells. You want everything in terms of smells to be neutral. You want your clothes to be able to be licked by yourself and to taste neutrally. If it tastes bitter, it's because there is chemicals in there and they leak to your skin. When you perspirate, then there is a bigger chance for those chemicals to leach into your skin. If you keep yourself dry, that probability is much lower. That's why something such as diapers, if they are from cotton or whatever, it's mostly fine. Ideally, there wouldn't be any diapers, or if any, something made of animal skin, animal fur. But going for those dot ones, those completely artificial, it's completely filled with chemicals so that it dries quickly or whatever, it cannot go well. It cannot possibly go well. So now you know, semen retention is not BS. It works, it increases your testosterone and consequently your so-called confidence, your so-called well-being, your so-called comfort in your own skin. When you only nut when nature feels like it and to procreate, then you will be a whole lot of time before you do so again. Nutting, releasing your semen, is as damaging and as tiring for the male body as having a so-called period where the blood is released for a female. So periods should be very rare. If anything, is your body telling you you failed at life, you are not able to procreate, to find a mate to procreate. I mean, you're ugly or something, or you're not exposing yourself enough, and so you are being punished with this released. In men, it's kind of the opposite. You are not being punished, you're being sort of rewarded from finding it, but then you have so-called period also that we have this refractionary, that we feel more lazy and so on, because the liquids is filling up our testicles again. It is not BS, it works. If you want to make sure you get the benefits of it, don't consume dairy, don't consume coconut or anything with MCTs, medium chain triglycerides, which are medium chain fatty acids. Make sure you don't prohibit yourself when the time arises, and you don't force yourself. Make sure you only surround with people that you are thinking of actually creating a family together. And please know that if you do want to live more unnaturally, if for now you still don't understand the value of creating a family, please do time your nutting to once a month. No problem with doing so. If you want to go more times without it, sure, even better. But the benefits will be minimal. The real benefits are from going month to month. At least around 30 days, maybe a little bit less, is the ideal. For sure, these recent teenagers which are just reached puberty, maybe in around 4 days, they can nut again and not feel a significant change. But once you get to your 20s, to your almost 30s, 40s, 50s, the thing takes more time to get to homeostasis. And thus, for me to recommend for you to nut at the most once per month is ideal. You can nut every single month, once per month. If some people actually prefer going like every 2 weeks, okay, it's not terrible if you're young enough or younger than me. If you're even younger, maybe you can even do it like every 10 days with undetectable consequences. What you have to understand is when you nut too close, like 2 days in a row or twice in the same day, then you will feel great, horrible consequences. Your testosterone will drop tremendously afterwards once the body starts, because your body wants you to rest, doesn't want you to go out there and do stuff. You just accomplished something, so to speak, and it wants to feel the testicles with new semen. Once again, it wants you to rest, and all of them, and you feel very angry. It wants you to eat for it to be filled once again as soon as possible. So yeah, don't do it every single day or often. Always leave a period between ejaculations. Thanks for watching.